All that crackling, it's coming right at you. Time for Teleport Now, live Blake 7 for the first time, bringing you live streamed conversations, explorations and celebrations covering that classic BBC Sci-Fi TV series. Blake 7 was the thrilling outer space saga that somberly closed out the 70s and then fired us into the 80s. It's still being rediscovered by those who've come along in the decades since too. Now, well into the streaming age, whether it's an old favourite or your latest binge watch obsession, whether you've come by Alien, Starship or Space Hopper, your course is confirmed for however long it takes with Teleport Now. Hello, welcome to the show. Welcome, friends and Federation officials, wherever you are. Lots to talk about with this particular slice of geeky sci-fi history that has a massive swell of fandom, hasn't it, out there? It's a sleeping giant, some would say. But there are thousands, tens of thousands of Blake 7 fans ready to teleport back in at a moment's notice if you know where to look, if you know where they hide. Once again, Terry Nation's Blake 7 has proven to be the cult favourite that simply won't die. We're 43 years on from the screening of its last episode, and the series seems more talked about than ever, more visible than it's been in decades, and it remains one of the genre's most recognisable homegrown hits here in Britain. I wouldn't describe it necessarily as a household name, but what I do find is that Blake 7 never fails to generate a smile. For one reason or another, when you mention it to people, generally speaking, it's to Gen Xers. That's what I find. Got a few of those to bring on in a couple of minutes. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and it's my digits that are manning the teleporter and pouring the soma for this special live stream. We're commemorating the release of the series on Blu Ray, certainly, and opening up the airlocks to connect with other Blake 7 fans wherever and whenever you found the show in the first place. It's a big old flight deck, lots of seats. I've never been sure how comfortable they are, but we can always crash down on the sofa, can't we? We're streaming over to X, YouTube and Rumble, so I think there's no more time to waste. Bring in the crew, see who we've managed to grab. To grab from Cygnus Alpha. First of all, he was here on the podcast with me for the pilot show of that a couple of weeks ago. So it's Keith Isles, direct from Home Media Minefield again. Hello, Keith. You okay?
Hey, yeah, not too bad. I might sound a little hoarse. I've got a bit of a cold, but I've got my Lemsip, so I'm all good.
You say Lemsip, I believe your thousands wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I wish it was stronger. But yes, and I've enjoyed watching 2 episodes today, in fact.
Spoiling yourself.
New Blu Ray. So, yeah, there you go. Love it.
But when you watch Blake 7, do you do it from the seating or the sort of half-standing position there, as befits the flight deck of the Liberator? I always thought that was a bit curious.
Yeah. Well, I think I mentioned on the previous episode we did that one of the strengths, I think, of certainly this first season of Blake 7 was the design elements. Obviously, we talked about the Liberator being a beautiful ship from the outside, but I also think the interior design is very well thought through, because obviously this is supposed to be a very alien space vessel, and that reflects in, like you said, the sort of support seating that they've got there, which as I said, I always was really fond of. I was much more fond of the Liberator than I was when they got to the Scorpio some seasons later. But
sacrilege. Everything about the Liberator is fascinating. How it moves, how it looks, how it sounds. I'm certain we'll be geeking about that a little bit more as the show goes on. Lots of room, of course, on the flight deck, and happily we've got more people to bring in too. First of all, he's a connoisseur of all things geeky over there on the Sci-Fi Chronicles on YouTube. Type 40 regular panelist as well. Welcome back to John Yulden.
Hey guys, how you doing? All right,
John.
Hello, mate. Good to see you. Yeah, so we were just considering the virtues or not of the flight deck of the good ship Liberator there. Where do you stand on the seating, though? Because obviously, I don't mind telling you, I'm well into middle age now, and the idea of standing up to work those controls, I think, no. Can I operate them in my slippers? If
you can. You can. I'm past the point where I can even sit now. I just lie across the sofa, just chill while everyone else does the work. That's where I am now with it.
Because there's no recliners, even on the soft seating. There's no recliner option?
No, there's not. But I'm sure with if they'd got another season, that would have come in quite easily. The recliner. That would have got another 2 million viewers easily, wouldn't it?
Yeah, when they need to whip up a bit of hype. We've got recliners this year. We've got recliners. We've also got more lifelong Blake 7 fans. A bit of an Aurak, this guy, when it comes to statistics, and he's a proper broadcaster too. And I'm happy to welcome him back to the channel. We've got David the Decimer. Really?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, got to give a love out to the Decimers. Of course, I don't have the hello everybody. I don't have the Blu Ray with me, but I do have this wonderful piece of
classic tome,
the
Blake 7 program guide. Is it a hardback edition as well, David?
Hardback, yes, hardback edition.
Mine's a softback.
Mine's softback.
Hardback.
Yeah.
Mine's hardback. Yeah, it's. I think I stole. Apparently, this was withdrawn from Stockport Library on the 1st of. In January 1983.
Big old fine coming to someone, isn't it?
So I bought this off. I bought this from a charity shop with, so for about 25 pence. So it was a hell of a good find.
It's really good. It's really good. I remember, obviously before the days of Wikipedia and whatever, that used to be my my guide and trivia Bible for Blake 7. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I still got it somewhere.
So it's because I've read Liberation, and I've got some views about some of the character some of the character sort of identificators that they've used, which hopefully we can get onto a bit later. But I've also got my also a mug with my tribute to Arco Trent. There you go.
Pretty good to get lubricated with. We've got a lot to talk about. Heaven knows what we're going to cover. We'll do our very best to cover as much as we can as we we open it all up as regards Blake 7 here on YouTube. From books you've read to books, a guy that he's not content just reading them. He writes his own, and 52 episodes of Blake 7, it wasn't enough for Neil Shearer. He had to join in and add his own with the follow-on series, Vindictus, and he's one half of the writing team who works on those, and he's joining us for this edition of the show as well. Hi, Neil.
Evening, everyone. How we doing?
Hello, Neil.
Evening.
Hello. Welcome back, mate. Good to see you. Fighting fit?
Something like that, until someone tells me otherwise.
Are you a lifelong reader as well, Neil?
I wouldn't say so, Dan, if I'm going to be completely honest. I wouldn't say I'm well read, in all fairness, which might be a little bit disappointing. But certainly a lot of the Blake 7 stuff I have got, and have read. So the original novels, then Afterlife after that, the program guide, the new stuff that's come out from Cult Edge, etc., and the Lucifer trilogy. So I've read all of them.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, that Blake 7 part of the bookshelf that used to take up about 3 inches, now it's expanding, isn't it? Thanks to yourself and Graham and various other very, very clever, learned people. There's not much reading room area on the Liberator, it has to be said, there's no reading lamps, no little touches of luxury at all, are there? But maybe you could find a space here and there. I think we did see Callie read a book at one point on one of those really uncomfortable looking lounges, the sort that looked like you'd have to sit in them as some sort of punishment for something. Do you remember those?
Yeah. They also had some lounges on the Scorpio, didn't they? Jumping ahead there, but they had them at the front of the flight deck there. But I'd be on that sofa, mate.
You would,
yeah, just chilling on our sofa as best I can. I don't know how comfortable it is, but I guess I Villa's adrenaline soma if it wasn't that comfortable.
You'd have to watch those covers as well. They would show every stain you could possibly leave. That's a terrible link. That's a terrible link to our final panelist as well. My God,
I'm not going to cover that.
Unbelievable. Now, every time I get together with this guy, we always seem to end up talking about Blake 7. He's, despite my awful link, he's very distinguished, very, very clever too, and he's responsible not just for the Type 40 theme tune, the best theme tune still in the whole of Doctor Who podcasts. He's also provided the theme tune for Teleport and Teleport Now as well. Here he is. Yes, I've got him. I can grab him. Tractor beam located on Lee from Ordred Audio Visual. Hi, Lee.
Hello, down and safe, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Lee.
There's never been much safe about our live streams, it has to be said.
Lee actually looks like he's got a teleport effect there going on.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, a ripple, and a warp. I mean, I was thinking about this, Lee. You know, Blake 7 ran for just 4 years. Back finishing that from it ran from 1978 to 1981, so it finished all those years ago. It's well over 10 times that now since the final episode, and here we are. We still talk about it. We still rally to it whenever the bell is rang. And what do you think it is about this show? Do you think it's the fact that I'd put it down to childhood and that sort of misty, hazy glow? But then lots of people seem to find it the successive generations, don't they? What do you think it is?
Well, I think one of the key factors was BritBox. If it wasn't for BritBox, I think it would have died a dusty death, you know. But in terms of the general audience, I'm saying not the hardcore fans. And
that's what I mean. Yeah,
keep it in their heart, you know, wherever they go. But I'm saying in general, I think for me, I mean, it was something that I remembered when I was very small. I was like 4 and 5 when I was watching it, and I was engrossed by it. I remember very fond memories of visiting my aunt and cousins and sitting down watching Blake 7. And then being obsessed with it. And I had the little corgi Liberator that I lost, and I had to have another one because I was throwing a tantrum. But it was really when I signed up to BritBox, you know, and I saw that they had all of Blake 7 on there. So obviously I watched all of it sort of within a few weeks because I was just one after the other. You know?
Really?
And reliving it, you know, and because I hadn't watched all of it when I was a kid because I cottoned onto it quite later on, you know. Towards
so did I.
Yeah, because I do. My earliest memory is of Blake, and then sort of towards the end, I sort of watched it going, "Where's Blake?" Which seemed to be the you know the thing that stayed with me. You know, that show called Blake 7, more like Avon's 5, but. Yeah,
it definitely left a big mark. And one thing I've noticed as well is that it's sort of echoed. It stayed with people. I wouldn't say like a race memory as such, but it has sort of echoed with people. And so when other shows turn up, there's a bit of a nod, isn't there, between sort of sci-fi fans, John, where we say, oh, that's a bit like Blake 7, isn't it? Oh, have you seen so-and-so? It's a lot like Blake 7. I bet they've seen Blake 7. They have to be Blake 7 fans on that show. Have you noticed that pop up every 5 or 6 years? There's a new take on, which is pretty much kind of Blake 7 with the pieces moved around the board.
Rip-offs, a lot of them. Rip-offs.
Didn't Joss Whedon deny it was a Blake 7 knockoff, even though
he denies a lot of things, mate, but we won't get into that. Stasky's missus.
Am I right in saying J. Michael Straczynski? I'll get that wrong because my pronunciation is terrible.
You did well there. You did well.
He very much shouted out Blake 7, didn't he? Yeah.
2 or 3 times, I think, actually on screen on Babylon 5. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you could be right.
Saying as much, I think.
So I wouldn't say that Blake 7 is sort of one of TV sci-fi's best kept secrets, Keith. It was too big for that, wasn't it? Even though it's a kind of culty thing now, it was a big hit show back in the day, wasn't it? With the prime time slot and cast members that people recognised who would turn up on Wogan and stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like some of you guys have already said, I kind of really got on board with it in the last 2 seasons because I guess I was a little young for the first couple of seasons, although I have sort of memories of certain things, but I don't think I watched it properly until season 3, maybe even 4. But then obviously went back when it all became available on home video and whatever, and went back and watched it. And I have to say, this afternoon, because I did the unboxing for the channel and plugged this, obviously, of the Blu Ray, because I was away last week. So I was only back to see it today. And of course, I had to put it in and watch those first 2 episodes. And, I have to say, watching those first 2 episodes, I really think, my God, this wasn't a kid's show.
Definitely not the first 2. Definitely not.
So, yeah, I mean, I think in later seasons, it got a bit episodic and it was still somewhat dark, but I think it got a bit more of a formula in later seasons. But certainly these first 2 have been very serialized. We haven't even met all of the characters yet after 2 episodes, and but I have to say, I thought, wow, there's some really dark stuff going on here. It was kind of just interesting to view it. Under the telescope now, how different it is,
Whilst Blake 7 is absolutely a product. Whilst Blake 7 was absolutely a product of its time, and it's linked to everything else from popular culture and mainstream culture. It's like Top of the Pops. When you see earlier episodes of Top of the Pops on BBC 4, Dave, they're a good yardstick for where culture was, aren't they? But I also find it with the little things like the continuity slides in between the shows themselves, not just the shows. And whenever I think back to watching Blake 7 when I was tiny, similar to Keith, I only really remember from childhood the 3rd and 4th series. I always imagine the lead into the show, almost as much as the show itself, my anticipation building and the drum of the theme tune coming in. It's the sort of thing that childhoods are made of.
Well, absolutely. And I'm absolutely delighted you put up the picture of the old globe as I remember it. I think that the last use of it was early February 1985. But that for me... Right. Was when I saw the globe, it meant Tom and Jerry, it meant Top of the Pops, meant Blake 7, Doctor Who, Morecambe and Wise. I think had gone to ITV by then. But it meant just sort of like, the old globe, BBC One. This is worth it. And I only do remember the latter part of series 4 because I was 5. Just turned 5 years old. Just literally a couple of weeks before the last episode was transmitted, and it was a really big thing in my house. My dad hated anything science fiction, so he said, but he'd watch it.
Yeah,
it's like that. The dad that hates EastEnders but can't miss an episode, but secretly hates it. But we watched it because my mum was an avid. She's a Trekkie. She got me into all the sci-fi and everything, and she still watches it today. All the weird science fiction that she can get her hands on, and she's brilliant. And it was a big thing because Blake was going to be back. Okay, and I remember that I had to sit still and quiet, and I had my sister was 6 months old. and if she cried, it was she tough, because this is the last episode of Blake 7. And as the credits rolled with the happy sort of jazzy ensemble piece by Dudley Simpson, when that cut in, my mum just turned at my dad and went, "Well, that's Christmas buggered then, isn't it?" And so I distinctly remember the end and thinking as a 5-year-old, wow, that is just the best ending to end. And still today, it is the best ending to any TV program or film that I have ever seen. And it was just the sheer sort of like, oh my goodness me, they can't really end it like that, can they? Yes, they have. Wow.
I mean, for years, it really, really annoyed me that whenever people talked about Blake 7, they only ever talked about one episode of the 52. As far as I'm concerned, there are considerably better episodes of Blake 7 than the final episode, and there's so much more to talk about until they got there. I think that's changed. I think that in the last 6-7 years, things have changed as regards Blake 7. As you were saying, Lee, since it's all been available to stream at the push of a button, because people don't just watch TV in that kind of linear way anymore, do they? You go back to your favourite episodes and watch them over and over again.
Was that to me?
Yeah.
Half asleep. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, I find that it got me very excited for Blake 7 because it was such a nostalgia trip for me. And I think since it appeared on BritBox, I've watched it once by myself. Then I started watching it with other people. I was trying to get them to watch it, like a religious fanatic.
You were trying to indoctrinate them, weren't you?
I was. And I think this now being the new box set release will be about the 6th or 7th time I'm going through it again. In the very short space of a couple of years, really, 2 or 3
But it
years.
lends it, when something is given that kind of boutique treatment, it lends it a sort of credibility. I won't say that it doesn't deserve, because it sincerely does. A lot of talent and care was put into that show. A lot of ingenuity, I suppose, and invention was poured into that show in quite a short period of time.
And they had to fight a lot of people to do it, didn't they? They had the
They did.
With, the union people trying to cause trouble. And sorry, I was watching that documentary on the first disc, and I was just blown away by all the things that they had to endure just to put this thing out. It's quite incredible, really.
Genuine adversity. I mean, I remember the show very vividly from it being on originally, that original screening, but I didn't see it really until the 3rd and 4th series. If I did see any earlier, I was simply too young to remember it. But it lived on in my memory, partly because of what David was talking about. You see something that's that sort of seismic on television, and it wasn't just what was screened. Just as you said, David, it was the reaction of the people watching and talking about it afterwards. It had the same kind of currency that the whole Who Shot JR thing had got, but it had a sort of a sour Britishness to it that obviously I couldn't put my finger on at the time, but the fact that it was connected to sci-fi, and I loved anything with spaceships in it, Johnny. It was that simple. And so Blake 7 kind of lived in my affections for years, and I'd recorded the soundtracks to a few episodes, but I think it probably would have died had I not picked up that same book, actually, David, the Blake 7 Programme Guide in 1983. I've still got my copy of that. It is the paperback. I've never even seen the hardback in the wild, but being able to go through the pages of this book, the definitive handbook compiled by Tony Atwood way back then, being able to go through this and get summaries of the episodes, not just that I'd sort of half remembered from a couple of years ago, which is an eternity for an 8-year-old. So there were summaries of the episodes that I'd remembered, but there was also lists of dozens of episodes that were just like fables to me, and it was all in here. I honestly believe that this book, I owe my fandom for this show, 4 decades of it, to this book. And so it's good to know that I'm not alone. I remember seeing it in WH Smithsley, and it was my copy was £1.25, and I think I just managed to. I think I'd got about £1 in pocket money sort of saved up, and I may have appealed to my mother's better nature, and she gave me the rest so I could afford this book, which at the time seemed like really thick. It's quite a thick book, isn't it, Keith? Like a doorstop.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like I said, it prior to the internet and Wikipedia and whatever, it really was the guide there for notes on the episode and trivia about episodes and production and stuff. And yeah, it was a really good guidebook. So
who's Nieri Nahon?
What was that? Sorry.
Nieri Nahon. I'm joking. His signature looks like.
Oh, that was
Nieri
another
Nahon.
big enigma when it came to Blake 7, because they did. I mean, Terry was he was very sharp with that, wasn't he? Made sure he got his name on it wherever and however he could when it came to merchandising. The great Terry Nation there, and I was always confused by that too. Who would sign their name like that?
And it's using Series 4 logo as well, not the more familiar one that we're all used to for the first 3 series. So for it to be a complete geek, it's got the Series 4 logo.
Yes, of course, the original logo is on earlier merchandise along with his signature as well. This is the 1980 annual, and a picture sent in to us by Michael Coombs. Michael was chuffed this week when he found this copy, this virtually pristine copy of the second Blake 7 annual at a local bookstore. He paid £3 for this, and he posted the picture over to our Facebook group. Pleased as punch, as you can see. But yeah, there's that iconic original logo and a beautiful painting of the Liberator.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I've got that. I've got all the Blake 7 annuals now, I think.
Well done, Michael. Great stuff. Great find. But the spacecrafts of Blake 7, all of them are idiosyncratic. They're like nothing in any other sci-fi show. But in some respects, so are the characters, so is the theme music. For anybody who would say, oh, it's just the British Star Trek, it's just this, it's just that, John, I just won't have a bar of it, Blake 7 is Blake 7. It's unique.
Oh, it's absolutely unique. And I did it again recently as well, similar to Lee. I did it on ITVX, and
did you?
I did season 1, and I thought, well, I'll watch that because I want to compare it to the set when it comes out and to see how good it is. And I just flew through it again, and it had been a good few years since I'd last watched it, but it's another show again where I wish I could travel back in time and just see it all brand new for the first time again, because this is great. Because I came to it a bit later than probably you guys, because I got shown it probably late 80s, because it was just before my time when it was on telly.
That's his way of saying I saw it after you old farts.
Yeah, and with the hairline, you think I was the older one, wouldn't you? Really? But
was that when it was repeated on UK Gold, John?
Well, all I will say is, at the time, my dad had friends within the BBC who managed to obtain a copy for me. So they and at the time, because it had been off air where I lived, there was nobody else in my area that was into Blake 7. So I literally, my poor mum at the time, I watched the episodes and I was like, I run up to her, you can't believe what's happened like that. And, I think they tried to put me up for adoption a couple of times.
Oh, God.
My mum actually persuaded my dad to get Sky TV so she could watch the reruns of Blake 7 when they came
really
out.
Good girl.
Great.
Well, for the longest time as well, I had my sort of reintroduction to it was the VHS. They made 4 VHS like movies that were actually edits. It's kind of sacrilege in some respects, but it was edits of episodes into sort of 2-hour specials from the first like 3 seasons. But at the time, I thought that was brilliant because it was a way of seeing this stuff and seeing some of the stuff that I hadn't previously seen. I imagine going back and watching that now would be kind of weird because they were probably not brilliantly edited, I'm sure, but because you'd get like 4 hours of.
Ben Cook wasn't involved, was he?
into two, so
They were a step on the way, on the road to Blake 7 coming in from the cold. I think Neil, because it had been away for 9 years. You couldn't access those episodes really unless you'd got Super Channel, and obviously the BBC was cagey about how they could market it, whether all the letters that came into Points of View every Wednesday, a steady trickle of them over a 5 or 6 year period, whether those people would actually put their money where their mouth was and buy Blake 7 if it was offered up to them at the retailer of your choice. And it seems like they must have turned up, because they kept on putting them out. And here we are again about, is this triple dip, quadruple dip? I don't know. Do you count the books?
I mean, I think I had some of the videos, not all, which sounds a bit bad. But what I did have was I had a friend who had UK Gold, and he recorded the ones I didn't have. I was either too skint at the time to buy or whatever it was. And I used to draw on the sides a little Blake 7 logo on the side of the VHS and put the names of the titles of the episodes that were on it. Yeah. So I had them all on either the legit videos or on recorded. But my memories were, my earliest memories of Blake 7 were of Callie, funnily enough.
You dirty devil.
I'm not going to go to that in detail, but and also the slime on Terminal. That's my earliest memories, because I was 1974, so I wasn't very old, and then they did the rerun, didn't they? And the only season that they rerun was season D, wasn't it? And I picked that up as well when that rerun, and that kind of ignited my desire to see the rest of the show. And then when I saw the VHSs, and then when I made that UK Gold, I was like, you got to record these for me.
Yeah, I got to see the blanks in.
I got to see it from the off, because I didn't know anything about Blake, Jenna, Gan, etc., etc.
Fill in the gaps.
Didn't know anything about them.
He was on it like a robber's dog. We've been having a good old natter here about Blake 7, sharing memories, trading our experiences there of when and how we saw it for the first time. As we've been rattling on for the last half an hour, people have been lining up in the live chat there on YouTube, X, and on Rumble too. I think we should go and check in with them and see which memories we have disturbed in our quest there. Blame us all. Blame us. Yes, it's very possible, Lee, that you've done it again, and that could be the best theme tune in Blake 7 podcasting.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody there in the live chat. We have lots of comments, and across all the platforms too. Thank you, everybody, for turning up. And let's see what they've all got to say as I scroll my way back. Some of them are about Beetlejuice. Why is that? Okay, so we've got Wookie Fever Presents is here, watching on X, and says, "Hey there, everyone." That's impressive facial fungus you've got there, Wookie. Good stuff. Avon Lives says, "Lord Thothwich is, of course, correct. I refuse to believe otherwise, David. Refuse to believe otherwise." A standard by 10 orders Stephen Braddock. I'm not going to argue with Stephen.
No.
Wouldn't in a million years. Definitely not. We have a ding dong, Avon calling. Do you know what? We're going to have to get a swear box, because this, I'll allow one. Never again, Lee Smith. Good to have you back, mate. Good to have you back. Sam's in too. A Christmas present from myself, this one. What, the stream? Watching us? A Christmas present. Isn't that lovely, Keith?
That is lovely, isn't it? Wow, there you go.
And we've got a hi and a hello from Rose Kirby in the live chat as well. We've got Michael Q. He's in too. So is Adrian James. Evening, everybody. And as I work my way down, we've got other names and faces too. Big thank you for the memories, for the wonderful memories. It brings joy and happiness to my life. Adds Rose. Well, we try. We aim to please. we've got. I remember when first watching this way back originally, I thought the two investigators were going to be part of the series, and then they were brown bread, Sir Stephen Braddock. This series had a habit of doing that, didn't it, at first, of being slightly different from other dramas. You were never quite sure where it was going to sort of roll out narratively, Keith.
Yeah, no, I mean, watching the way back this afternoon, it did make me think that. I was like, oh, wow, the defense attorney and his girlfriend, they look like they're going to be sort of major players in this. And you forget that at the end, they end up, dead on the lawn.
That was so shocking. That was so shocking.
Even Ravella, and Bran Foster, who's telling, you got all this done to you and all this. Yeah. Bang, gone, no more. Sort of.
Like a
it's from minute one, wasn't it, or episode one, if you want to put it that this danger around this program was already put in there. These people aren't invincible, even though they go and get their big ship, etc., but there needs to be a bit of trepidation around it.
It was unsettling, Neil, in a way that when I look back to my childhood, things that when I was too young to be able to follow stories, you just picked up the flavour of something. And Blake 7, although it had the same kind of production values maybe as other shows in that genre that I watched, when I watched it, it made me feel more the way I did when I caught the last 10 minutes of something like Secret Army. One of those kind of dramas, definitely adult dramas.
Yeah, and I think the first two seasons, very much so, were that. I think things lightened up a little bit at times. But definitely the first two seasons were quite dark. And they also had that arc running through them, which was quite revolutionary at the time, I think. An arc running through a series wasn't heard of.
Yeah, it was. I think up until J. Michael Straczynski broke Terry Nation's record with Babylon 5. Yeah, Terry had got he held a Guinness World Record for writing every episode of a whole season of a TV show, of a sci-fi TV show. This is the biggest news in human history and no one cares, says Simon Ashley. We all care. Simon Anthony, sorry, we all care, of course we do. And Paul Richards says Blake 7 is much more mature and cynical than Doctor Who. Well, of course it is. Doctor Who was aimed at a family audience, whereas Blake 7 was aimed at adults, wasn't it? So it could go those places that shows like Doctor Who couldn't.
That's what threw me, because I came across from Doctor Who growing up as a young kid, and I came across Blake 7. And when you're talking about those first two episodes, and especially that first one and the ending to it, I was sat there as a kid and I was like, what? They're dead.
Yeah. Well, I
Mum,
think Simon was,
therapist.
Simon was talking about the alien situation in America. That's what
I know, but it's something that it's obviously completely off topic. So, with respect, Simon, we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about Blake 7. Rick Storm says Blake 7 episode 1 is today's Britain, with Labour as the evil federation. Can I co-sign that?
Sutherland, then.
Should we not go into politics?
Big Starmer is watching and listening at all times. Adrian James says, I remember Blake 7 was repeated in the late 90s on BBC Two. It was repeated here and there. It was tucked away Saturday afternoons on BBC Two. Opposite, I think they started the football at that point, David, didn't they? So very few people were watching when they did.
Was it only season 4? It was, wasn't it? Season D.
That was 1983 that was repeated.
Yeah.
No, this is the late 90s here we're talking about.
I can't remember.
Early, 99, 2000-ish it was, wasn't it?
Right.
UC2, I think. From
Wookiee Fever Presents is another fan of BritBox, just like you said, Lee. BritBox has done sterling work for Blake 7, hasn't it? It was a series that people heard about, but they couldn't access it at other places in the world. The series hadn't been available on disc in America. Our friend Gary Beekler from nerdrotic.com, he talked about how trying to get hold of it was very difficult when he got a steady flow of people asking him if he'd ever seen it. But thanks to BritBox.
You were the one who... I was the one
who
watched it. And then someone sent him a copy or the box set, I believe, the DVD box set, which also I've got. And I think that, I asked him if he'd seen it. This is ages ago. and I don't know if he's finished seeing it. I don't know, because I never heard anything more about it, which kind of threw me a loop, really. I don't know what happened there.
I heard him say that he liked it.
Yeah.
He's a very, very busy man. Very busy man. Colin Archer says, Blake 7 stream finally. Thank you, Colin. And maybe you come and join us for a show by all means. We've got Adrian James is here, Lord Thoth, Stephen Braddock, lots more comments from everybody. Paul Richards, who says, "Oh, the final episode really upset my brother. It's upset everybody's brothers, their mothers, the vicar. It was all up the pictures."
I'll tell you what. I remember. You see, that was great being a kid when that happened, because I remember the school playground after that last episode. That's all anybody talked about. It was people were absolutely stunned by that. And it was weird because we'd had Empire Strikes Back, which had ended on a dark note.
Dark one, yeah.
And then Blake 7 that ended on a dark note. And it was like, wow, so suddenly you had this dystopian feeling sci-fi, and obviously didn't know what dystopian meant back then, but
But Keith, did you recreate that scene in the playground?
Oh, we used to play Blake 7 all the time
as well.
It was more when it was Avon's 5, but yes, it was kind of that.
Yeah, obviously, like I said to you, where I lived and I was a kid, people weren't watching it then, all the other kids, so they were just looking out the window going, "What's that young lad doing in the playground all by himself?"
we were all making the bracelets out of orange squash bottles. Peter.
Thank you, Sarah Green. I scribbled it all down as she was telling me. I scribbled it all down in biro in my notepad, just so I could get it right. Oh, bless her heart. The rabbi from another planet from YouTube, he's watching there and said he loved the VHS covers. Yes, so did I. And Daryl Joyce as well, the fabulous artist and illustrator Daryl Joyce of all things sci-fi and horror, says, "I couldn't afford the Blake 7 VHSs whilst buying the Doctor Who ones, but I did find them in a bargain VHS market and was hooked again. Glad to rediscover another classic series." People come to it via different means.
Dan, on the back of that last comment, can I make a huge confession, please? I've never told anybody this. The first student,
not anything to do with wanking, is it?
No, God, no. I'll be blind otherwise.
Callie might have been, but I said we're not going to that.
Now she's in HD.
It's an issue.
David.
My first ever student grant check, I bought the entire collection of Blake 7 on VHS from a W.H. Smith in Portsmouth.
Amazing.
So I cashed it. Other people were getting, whatever they were getting. I got the series of Blake 7, the entire series. I had to order. I even had to order them in by the W.H. Smith thing, and every week when I get a little notification through post or a postcard saying to my Halls resident saying your latest video is in. Please come and collect it. So I'd go in and get the video, so that I had to pre-order that they hadn't got in stock. So that's what I spent my first student grant check on. Is the entire collection of Blake 7 on VHS.
Shocking behaviour. I did on exactly the same. Paul Richards says there is an Orwellian feel to the show with money gone and cameras everywhere. Yeah, I know what you mean. There definitely is. And Retro Doc Gary Akers is in the live chat too. Hi, Gary says, in the US, many PBS stations ran it on Saturday nights in a sci-fi block with Doctor Who and Red Dwarf. So that was obviously a lot later because Red Dwarf come along about a decade later, didn't it? Imagine that, a steady block of those shows, which are all sort of similar but very different at the same time as well. For all you Anglophiles out there, we're just glad that you found us. Stephen Braddock said, I had a dystopian drama afternoon today. First 2 episodes of Blake 7, followed by 1984. Bloody hellfire.
Which one?
Yes, who? Which starring who? Richard Burton or Peter Cushing? We need to know. And Ezra Goldstein says, Avon lives. We got to come back to that, haven't we? Got to come back to that. Cliff Maxwell confines, for me, the show was hit or miss, never actually being on. I see. Never actually being alongside other British favourites of his. So we could never keep up with the narrative. Maybe give it another day in court, Cliff. But obviously, results may vary. We respect your opinion. You're wrong, but we respect your opinion. Lord Thoth says, though those VHS tapes are in good shape, are actually valuable. Maybe they are. And we've got fans of Secret Army have been unearthed as well. Simon's angry with me for not picking up on the news, but this is a dedicated show to a dedicated topic. So I'm sure if people want the news, they know where they can go and find it. The first season was excellent, says Rob Alexander. I think he's talking about another show, though. Whatever you're talking about, keep talking. There's lots to get into here. Seeing as this is our inaugural live stream concerning Blake 7, I did want to tip the hat to this fella. The late, great Terry Nation, the Welsh screenwriter and novelist, although most remembered now for working in science fiction. He started out writing comedy, didn't he, for Tony Hancock, Neil. A very long career, turning his hand to whatever he needed to, really. He entered the industry in the mid-50s, and I think he claimed that Spike Milligan bought one of his sketches, and that's what got him on the treadmill.
The Pakistani Daleks, was it?
I think that was a lot later. But obviously, he went on to create a very famous sci-fi monster, but also submitted scripts to the Avengers, the Baron, the Champions, Department Test, the Persuaders, the Saints, all those classic ITC series. Keith, he's the definition really of a jobbing writer of his day, isn't he? He was born in 1930 and passed away at the age of just 67 in 1997.
Yeah. No, I mean, what a legacy. The Daleks obviously being, I guess I'm not much of a Doctor Who person, but I always like the Daleks. I guess they're still the most famous Doctor Who monster, right? And
oh God, yeah.
And then obviously coming up with this and writing. I mean, I think the reason the first season of Blake 7 is considered by many the strongest is because he literally wrote every episode. So it's got that really consistent feel across it. And amazing work, really. Way ahead of his time.
The Daleks have to be the most well-known enemy in TV sci-fi, don't they? I would have thought.
Yeah. They were actually
not far off.
They were actually meant to be the aliens from Andromeda.
They're cultural, aren't they, the Daleks?
At the end of Series B. But the Terry Nation wanted the Daleks to be the invading egg cups at the end of Star One. But for some reason...
I'm glad that didn't happen, personally.
I heard something once about, again, I'm sure this was just one of those sort of rumours that people make up. But I heard... that there was a talk that at the very end of the whole series, that dark ending, that there was thoughts that it was going to carry on. And when the troops surround Avon, the Daleks come in as well. But I'm sure that's one of the things that some fanboy made up.
That's a school play. That's a school playground story. That's the same kids who insisted that Bruce Lee died fighting 1,000 blokes. You'll find that came from the same.
And that's not true.
Let's also not forget Raymond Cusick, who designed the Daleks as well.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I got this quote here. I got this quote here from Terry Nation, David. He said, I think I said the Dirty Dozen in space, and that's it. I knew then. What you've got to look at the moment you come up with an idea for a series is, does it have legs? I knew immediately that it had the legs to go on. We could keep on doing it as long as we wanted. So yeah, I knew that it would work. I really knew it would work. I really knew Blake 7 would work. So he was very confident in the series from the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's because he's very good. Terry Nation is very, very good at putting real people in strange situations. He's very good at having inventing characters. If you look at his other work in Doctor Who, and primarily that's one of his greatest Doctor Who piece, in my opinion, Genesis of the Daleks, his characters are very, very rounded. You've got Davros with a whole lot of backstory going on. You've got Nida, you've got Garmin, you've got all these characters are very real and very rounded. And I think if you've got that ability to do that, you can almost put them in any situation and it becomes real, because the characters are they're living, breathing. They're you can identify with them.
But am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying though that Terry Nation was more your sort of outline writer, and then he'd get other writers to sort of fill in the blanks?
No,
I've read
I
that.
think,
Yeah, I've read
He was an
that.
economical writer.
Yeah, Raymond Cusack, who you just mentioned when you put before the quote came up, said he remembers having a conversation with Terry Nation saying, "Why'd you just say they enter a white featureless room?" And he just goes, "Well, I can't. Well, my job is the dialogue and the character. That's for you to worry about." You know, so he would in Series A lot of the rewrites were done by Chris Boucher, because it was either sort of like, do you want all 13 episodes or do you want half of them? Because if you want a rewrite doing, I can't do it. Or if there's additional material, I think he found that a bit of a grind, and he was struggling later with the later stories. And Chris Boucher realized that he was having to do more and more and more and more as as Series A went along, because of the pressure that was required over scripts and rewrites and everything like that. So I think that's why in some cases Series A can be a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but it's also got some of the best stories I've ever seen on TV. When you look at the first trio of episodes and the last three as well.
But we're gonna look a little bit deeper into the series itself when we get back. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's dropped those comments. A pleasure to make our way through them. Keep them coming, and in the comments section after the show as well. Whilst you're on the channel, why not check out the podcast that we put out as well? Myself and Keith and starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham, we reconnected and talked about the imminent arrival of Blake 7 on Blu Ray, chewed the fat and churned over some more memories there. So that's up on the channel to check that out. It is that time. Travis has gone for a break, a quiet break, but it seems he's never off duty. We're going to slip back in time just for a moment or two. We'll see you back here after the
The year 1984. Pushing back the frontiers of electric cooking still further, Pan has discovered a ceramic hob that cooks by the heat of light. The halogen hob. Energy efficient, responds so quickly, caresses a pan so gently. The halogen hob. Cook electric. That means clean.
It's not like this out there. Out there, people are pouring themselves gloriously pink Campari over ice.
Campari where?
Out there. Some are adding a swoosh of soda and a slice of orange. Others are drinking Campari and lemonade.
Where?
Out there.
Oh, in the pub. Well, I told you I'd show you a good time. I didn't say we'd have one. Darling?
Don't know about you, but I want some pots and pans and a Campari.
Welcome back, everybody, to teleport now. Travis is back from his whatever he's been doing out there in the wilds, and I've got a panel here of fellow Blake 7 fans ready to get stuck into yet more conversation. I'm happy to say here on our live stream show across X, Rumble, and on YouTube too. We want your comments as well. Okay, so where next? Okay, yes, so I have enough trouble, guys, working a Fire Stick. I don't think I could pilot the Liberator in a million years, to be quite honest. But all I can say is, here we are. So it's November 2024. Blake 7 is back. Thank heaven that reports of the demise of physical media in favour of streaming have been greatly exaggerated, or certainly held off long enough for Blake 7 to finally make its way to high def on shiny disc. So the series was released earlier this month in Britain, and I'm fairly certain that lots of people on the panel and you guys watching out there on YouTube, Rumble, and on X have raced through all 13 episodes and probably plenty of those special features too, old and new. So I thought we could compare notes here about what we've been watching and what kind of impact this release has had. Now it's finally with us, Keith. You know, you run the YouTube channel Home Media Minefield, so you're well up on the changes in this market, aren't you? You know, we've described this as a boutique release, so we're used to seeing it when it comes to certain movies, niche kinds of movies, either from niche genres or films that sort of fall between the cracks in the pavement. But when it comes to television, treatment such as this, the attention that's been lavished on Blake 7 is reserved for like 2 or 3 other shows. That's globally, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is quite the release. I tried to put in the comments, but I don't think I'm allowed to put links. I was going to put the link to the unboxing for if anyone out there is considering buying it.
We can come to that. We can come to that later on in the show.
Yeah, no worries. But no, it's. I mean, they've done a great job here, and as I said, I couldn't help myself but put it in and start watching it. And interestingly, it defaults to the original versions, not the new version.
Yeah.
So I
see.
I watched most of the way back thinking, these effects don't look much different to me, and then realised with the enhanced effects. So, but yeah, it was just so good to have them like this and see them looking and sounding as good as they ever have. So.
Obviously, it's so beautifully packaged with a wealth of these extras. You know, how much have you watched, Keith? Just a couple of episodes? Have you dipped into the extras?
No, unfortunately, because I was away last week, I procured this today, did the unboxing, and it was, I literally had time to watch the first 2 episodes, or actually 2.5, because as I said, I watched the way back twice, and Spacefall, and I just got pulled into that because again, I love the way all the characters are introduced. I like the crew of the London, play a big part in it, and that was really good. But no, I'm really looking forward to digging into the special features, particularly this new documentary that you've already mentioned.
It's brilliant.
I may well watch that after we've done this tonight, in fact. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Wow, lovely stuff. When it's material I'm very familiar with, David, the episodes themselves I'm talking about, I quite often go for things like those feature-length documentaries or a particular interview, almost as if it's an appetizer for watching the episodes again. Have you opened your set? Have you watched these yet?
I almost need to buy a second one. I've run it that I've played it too much. I watched Liberation, the over an hour documentary while I was doing the ironing last week, so it got my full attention. Sadly, I didn't get a lot of ironing done because it is really good. I like the fact that they've used. I like the fact that they've used interviews from all over the years, and they've mixed it up with lots of current stuff as well. Bless him, Roger Murray Leach. That guy needs therapy after following from his work on Blake 7. you can see he hears the word Blake 7 in the interview, and the guy looks crestfallen. You know, it's almost triggered back to, oh my goodness,
the stress and strain of having to meet his responsibilities on that show for however long he was on it.
What I didn't know, absolutely didn't know, is that Roger Murray Leach, being an artist, was the person who designed the Liberator, and not Ian Scoons from the visual effects department, and that caused a mighty falling out. So going back to all the stuff about what the unions were like at the time, and there's a great bit where they talk about how a door handle nearly brought about a strike by the unions, putting a door handle on a door, and that it's a sort of pettiness and production issues that they had to overcome before
tied to a particular time and a particular dynamic, doesn't it? When the unions. Yeah. When the unions ruled, I mean, it does sound like these features do have the wealth of new sort of nuggets that are going to come to light through the special features. I understand you've got to teleport away, Lee, but before you go, I mean, have you had your set yet, and which material have you watched? Can you give us a hint about how far you've got?
I do. I'm afraid I must depart very soon, but yes, I do have it. I received it pre-order through HMV. It arrived very quickly. I have watched the first two stories and all the extras on the first disc, and I watched the extras on the disc last night.
Is that how you tend to do it then? You go literally through each disc, watching literally everything, and then you move on?
I do when I get the opportunity to, absolutely. Yeah. And I really warmed to Sally and Yvette because I was kind of...
Yes.
Bit sort of off with her. Some of the things she sort of said, I don't know the way she said things, and that all you know when you put the disc in and you get the voice saying, "Oh, if you want the audio commentary, blah blah blah, do this now," whatever. And it's very loud, very clipped from Sally there. I was like, maybe jump. But no, great extras on there. These new special effects look great. I will say though that the upscaling was not as upscaled as I'd hoped, because you still had, I know that the technology isn't quite there yet for VHS, video, whatever, to get rid of those sort of scan lines, those sort of weird lines in there, which I thought was a bit. I would have done, and this is me talking. I would have taken some of those granular effects, of the video, and put them over the new effects just to make it blend in a little more. But that's me.
They used to do that, didn't they, when they were marrying black and white with colour, when they'd got material that existed from British transmissions in black and white, but they'd got colour transmissions from the States to sort of bring them together to get a little bit closer to sort of a broadcast standard.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. But I guess time, money, and the technology simply is not quite there yet. So I was a little bit deflated with the film bits. Look fantastic, though. I will say that they absolutely popped. But again, it does have that slight jarring effect from when you skip from one, cleaned up to the not so cleaned up, the studio shots and everything. But that's a minor niggle. It didn't detract from my enjoyment of it whatsoever. And if anything, it still gives you that feeling of that 80s, 70s, 80s show that you love. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna have to shoot off. I'm afraid I've got to pick up my mum. She just got back from Korea. So
okay, safe trip, mate. Drive carefully. We'll catch up with you soon, and maybe on a subsequent episode. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the box set, mate. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, bye.
And cheers for another fabulous theme tune. That's Lee from Ordred Audio Visual. Go and follow him on YouTube. Go and subscribe on YouTube, I should say. Yeah, obviously, when it comes to updating special effects on a release like this, Keith, you said you got a part way into watching an episode before is this the new one? Is it the old one? Things like this. Sensitively updated. That's what fans really want, isn't it, Neil? We don't want to see the things that we've grown up watching and loving and kind of smiling at in a loving way rather than ripping the piss out. We don't want every little sort of android character turned into something that looks like it could be out of the latest Disney Star Wars movie? Do we want it to look kind of like an updated version of something from the 70s or the 80s?
I think it's been sympathetically done, if I can use that term. And I think it from what I've seen, and I've got to the web, and I've watched all the extras on them discs. I'm doing the extras first and then the episode, so I'm doing that.
See, we all watch them in different ways, Neil.
Yeah, because I'm interested, and I've really liked. They've got the convention clips, or more than clips, aren't they? You know, when they're having the panels at the conventions, the deliverance, and things like that. And I've really enjoyed watching them. They're very over their time, you know. Gareth Thomas drinking about 40 pints while he's
it's like he's
cigarettes. I said, no wonder he died early.
I've seen footage of that guy before. It's like he had hollow legs or something.
But it's sympathetically done, and I was worried about, you know, the teleportation effect. I was worried about that, but I really liked the new one that they did. It cleaned it up. Everything's much brighter and crisper, and of course the spaceships. You know, you haven't got any of them annoying animation that we had, particularly in season 1 of the Liberator flying through space. I hated that, and they're gone. Great, and I just think
I've never warmed to those. I have to admit, it's the one blind spot I still have, Neil.
Did you see, Neil, that even updated the titles?
Yes.
At the start, absolutely. Yeah, even though they're still the animated, aren't they? But it's much crisper. They've changed the colours, haven't they?
Yeah.
And the Liberator doesn't fly just dead straight. It's doing a little bit of.
Oh, really? No, I wasn't aware of that. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah. And you know, I just hope now, to be honest, that it's sold enough, and we're gonna get series B, C, D, and they're gonna be as liminally recreated as this has been.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to say we've spoken a little bit about this before, because as we know from speaking to the people who run the Doctor Who line of releases, that the continuation of that line is never guaranteed. That they only work a certain amount of distance into the future. So it really is important that people do invest in these if they can, to secure the likeliness of subsequent volumes. And so I think we want all these. We want a full collection of Blake 7 sooner rather than later. And the early indicators are that this is selling really well, John. So this is the Amazon bestsellers list. It's sat there behind Dune Part 2 on Blu Ray this week.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I actually think it will take that crown. It's going to do it. You know, Blake's coming in. He's going to kick Dune right out.
I know which one I prefer, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's great to see. And it's, you know, I also think we're in a time now where there's a lot of love being put into these restorations to these classic series. And I think new viewers, there's becoming a new audience for them, because they may be thinking, well, there's not a lot of great stuff on at the moment. So they're now, so they're now looking at new stuff, you know, stuff from the past that's being re-released, and they're giving it a go. And you know, I've seen online, I've seen loads of people talking about how great it is, and you know, I've still got to put mine on yet.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, John.
So there's where we are.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I'm going to ask you that in a moment. So there's where we are with Amazon. Here's where it is in the official Blu-ray chart, sat there at number 1 in the official Blu-ray chart. That's not tied to any particular retailer. So it does seem that it's peaked. It's reached our peak. Did you reach your peak when your box set finally arrived there, John? And how much of it have you watched so far? What have you managed to make your way through?
Well, I've not done any of it yet. I've got to put it on, and when this drops,
so is that a Virgin box you're holding there?
It is. In fact, live on the channel, I am going to be opening the box set, and here it is.
We ought to charge extra for this.
Yeah. In fact, while you carry on, I'm just going to put it on. So yeah, here we are. I'm ready to
He's
roll.
in.
Wow.
He's in. He's
Yeah.
in. It's
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
He's in.
I've popped my cherry. I'm ready to roll.
So have you allocated? Do you allocate a specific evening where you sit down and watch your geeky stuff? Because without going into details, you're a grown man. You've got responsibilities. You've got a very responsible job.
Thanks for noticing, mate.
Do you have? Not much gets past me. But you know what I'm saying. Have you got a set night though where you think, oh, this is my night, where I sit back and I watch this and that and that and this, and I feel like I'm 10 years old again? Or do you just fit it in here and there, and you just with abandon?
I might be in the reverse to the rest of society, but the rest of society has to fit in around my viewing.
Yeah.
The viewing, the box set, that all comes first. Work, everything. I'm sorry, that's going on.
So what are you looking forward to the most then about attacking the Blu-ray set? Is it the episodes, or is it some of the, because David there, the way he was talking about those features, my God, I can't wait to see some of this stuff.
I think it's similar to how I am with the Doctor Who sets, where I will watch kind of both versions first of all, and I'll compare what the new effects are like to the old effects, and do I rate it? And then I will go similar to how Lee does things. I'll go disc to disc, so I'll literally exhaust everything on each disc until I move on. I see. It's going to be a good fun adventure, isn't it?
But I don't have to rewatch the old ones because, frankly, I've seen them all a million times.
Yeah.
in true geeky style.
Yeah.
I mean, how's it looking in HD? Is it? I mean, really does it look great? Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. But even the titles at the end on the original ones, they've still got that sort of like, oh, quickly, we reach the end of the credits. Move the camera. And you've got the wobbly camera bit on that. That even looks fantastic in HD. Obviously, that's taken out with the special effects changing, but it's for me, not knowing much about upscaling and not really got the eye for detail.
No, I'm the same as you, David. I don't know a great deal about it.
No, I think it's sort of like, whoa, this is good. And this is really good. And also, for the way back, and also Spacefall, it gives you that really sort of, this is really a desperate world to live in. It gives the caves a more bleak look. It gives the film outside on location work a really, really sort of grittier, desperate look. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed the upscaling of it. And Deliverance, particularly, which is obviously on screen at the moment, I thought was phenomenally a lot better with the upscaling. Really, 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 I could tell the difference from watching it on VHS or BritBox, and I thought it was brilliantly done. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, because you do watch, like when I've watched, like I said a few months ago, I watched season 1 on ITVX, and you can see it there. You can see the quality's not quite.
No.
It's not because of everything that's evolved over time. It's just not quite there, is it? And
no.
But from looking at that, it looks like they've done a superb job. So
yeah,
I'm going to be in my element with this, I think.
You're going to love it, John. I promise you will love it.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah. You can see one of the things that I found very noticeable with the first couple of episodes was the fact that you can actually see detail in people's eyes, which is there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff goes on, a lot of acting goes on from the eyes sometimes, and you get you can see a lot more detail than you've previously been able to see. Yes, the film parts, you can see some of the film grain, but that's to be expected, coming from 16mm film, you can see some grain in there. And obviously, one of the things they've done that I think is quite nice is, and I only know this because I watched, as I said, I watched the original version and then rewatched the thing. But they've replaced all of the anything that appears on a screen. You know, they've redone the graphics.
Yeah, because
stuff as well.
There's a loads of them were terrible, weren't they?
Yes, yeah. No, they've done a really. So it's not just the exteriors, the space fields, and the exterior ship footage, but actually in scenes with you know the old footage, they've actually, as I said, redone the displays and whatever. The thing they didn't do that I was surprised by is I thought they were going to put in lasers and stuff for you know when the guards gun everyone down, but they
I thought that.
I think that's down to the individual. I mean, no expense has been spared doing all of this, you know. They've come to bang up-to-date techniques to realise all of these amazing new special effects. Everything that you've seen on screen there, I mean, it's not just a bloke with a bit of wire and and his mate cupping the bauble there. I mean, they wouldn't do anything like that, would they? But no, this is great. I mean, this is more dedicated craftsmen, experts in their field, willing to roll up their trouser legs and get down to, looks like down the coast, wherever that is, and go old school with some beautifully made, recreated models there. There's some of the team who've worked on the new special effects for the new Blake 7 set. And here are two absolute legends, Matt Irvin and Mike Tucker, back there with one messing with a fin on a Federation pursuit ship with a big blue screen behind them and lots of lighting. Fabulous sight to see these two guys back in the temple, I suppose you could say, doing what they should do. You know, I was at an event a few months ago. I walked into an open room, a really big room. There was only 2 or 3 people in there as well, and I looked to the side of me, and there was a friend of mine, Ian Kubiak. Hi, Ian, if you're watching. And next to him was Matt Irvin. He was with a metallic canine accomplice of his, fiddling around with it on all fours, and I thought this is one of the greatest moments of my life. There just happens to be Matt Irvin over there fiddling with a prop. And this picture's the same. You think, how did they feel doing? I bet Matt never thought that he would do this. And of course, there's all of these new, younger people too, working with them to achieve the results, to bring this set up to scratch, and obviously to make us feel like kids again, and hopefully to future-proof the material as well. So I would imagine they'll be able to do what they did with Star Trek, Keith, and you mentioned this before, in that it's the new episodes that will probably make their way eventually onto streaming platforms and things like that for subsequent generations to come to and enjoy. So there's a barrier, a possible barrier between the material, between the stories and the performances, which are the most important part, aren't they? Let's not forget. It takes down one of those barriers and guarantees it another couple of decades potentially worth of life, I'd say. Is that ridiculously optimistic?
No, I think that's very fair to say. I mean, as I said, the good thing with this release is you've still got the original versions as well. But even those original versions look great because they're cleaned up, they're in high def. You know, they've got DTS 2.0 audio, so that they're nicely cleaned up, even with the old visuals still. The thing I was surprised about was, and it was only through reading the box, when I was doing the unboxing, looking at the tech specs, it says that the main features, it's got 4.3 and 16.9. So I thought, for the remastered versions, the versions with the new visual effects, are they going to 16.9 it and essentially do a crop so that it fills the frame? But no, they've kept it all at 4.3, both versions. So you know, which again is the original vision. They're not messing with that. But it's just the way they worded it on the packaging made me think that they might do both, but they didn't. But
the attention to details to some of these special effects and the sensitivity in which some of the models have been recreated with CGI, and the little Easter eggs here and there of spacecrafts that weren't there originally that are now, but completely belong to that to that universe. They knit themselves in beautifully. I can't wait to start watching this, Neil. You're probably wondering why I haven't answered my own question. It's because my box set is still in its packet. I haven't had time to even open it yet. I've had it for quite a while. Too busy making this content to entertain you guys. So I've been too busy to open it yet, but the opening and the unboxing, that will be on the way soon as well. Of course it will. But everything comes to he who waits. And yeah, so when I get a chance, I can't wait to get this up on my TV. I've had a new TV quite recently as well, and a new Blu Ray player. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be very sweet when I finally do get my eyes on all of this. I plan to start this coming weekend, but yeah, so watch this space for my unboxing of it as well.
That's your Saturday and Sunday gone, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I can see, but it's kind of like you were saying, Keith, because you can't not carry on watching this. There's clusters of episodes which are so compelling and so serialized that you can't just leave it at one or two. You have to go deeper. You have to continue.
I mean, I've not seen the new teleport visuals yet because I haven't got that far. They've only just boarded the Liberator. They've only just found the Liberator and boarded it. So I haven't even got to the use of the teleportation system yet. So I can't wait to see that. Love it.
So yes, that's where we are at with all of this and all of that. All those fabulous special features all listed there on the back of the box set. Updated special effects, archival documentary, new feature-length documentary, In Conversation with Matthew Sweet and Sally Nivette, a tribute to Stephen Greif, rare convention footage. It's all on there, along with HD photo galleries and a written PDF archive as well. It's everything that you could possibly want. There's a wealth of it over on there. But the one thing that's niggling me a little bit, not just as a graphic designer, but as a miserable bastard and a pain in the arse, is why is Series A of Blake 7 all of a sudden Series 1? And I went over onto X and saw that Mab Astra here at Out PT, she says the same. So she's got her box set there in this fabulous picture, and she says it's here early, and I'm strategically covering up that Series 1 nonsense. Now, I think I know why they've done it. Series 1, it's a lot easier to market than Series 8, but it's always been Series A, B, C, and D, Neil. Shouldn't they have kept it? Couldn't they have kept it? I still call it Series A.
I can answer in short, yes. They should have kept it Series A. I don't know why that is. I mean, it must be a modern audience thing, is it? I really couldn't tell you. But that's the only way that I can perceive it is that how we do new shows, they call Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, and the ABCD has died a death. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, it might
I'd
be
put it down
worldwide marketing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd put it down to when you go into HMV or something, David, and you think, oh, which season of ER do I need to complete my set, or Friends, or Battlestar Galactica? And people who aren't dyed in the wool geeks but might be gifting them to somebody, they go and look across, and it's easier marketed, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, yeah. They've got so I could see why. But then again, how many of these are they actually going to shift at a bricks and mortar store? Most of them are going to be, I would imagine, through the mail, and therefore the people who are buying them know exactly what they're buying. So they could have called it Series 1, David. That's what I'm trying to get round to. Series
I know. We've been here with similar, with similar sort of things with Doctor Who. How many season 1s do we want? And it seems to be just an incredulous sort of situation. But it may be for the worldwide market, they've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, just in numbers to make it easier for the packaging. I don't know. It is something that makes, gets my goat, like you. But on the grand scheme of things, can I be blatantly honest?
Go on.
I hadn't noticed. All I did is I got my DVD box set.
There were no wrong answers.
Wow, this is fantastic. Put it on, start watching. So,
well, Sally Knight says it at the beginning, doesn't she? Series 1, Blake 7.
Yeah.
So you can't escape it.
Yeah, so
What's interesting?
if Sally says it, it's canon.
Exactly.
You know?
What's interesting, they've also changed that on Wikipedia now, because on Wikipedia it was always season A, B, C, and D, but now it's seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, but I think they've done it. I think you're right, Dan. They've done it just because it's more universally known. That's how we refer to 24 and Battlestar Galactica. You know, all these other shows, Lost, whatever. Worldwide.
It's not unreasonable, is it? It's not that it makes no sense. It does make perfect sense, but it's just like, the little things that are idiosyncratic about Blake 7, I love them all, but I'm certainly not going to argue with Sally Nivette, am I? Let's be honest.
It's the Federation, isn't it? If the Federation want to change it on the quiet to see Series 1, that's what they're going to do, aren't they? And that's what they've done. Wikipedia. It's all being erased, isn't it? This is the future.
Yeah, we're going to have our memories changed, haven't we? That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You'll be in that chair soon, Keith. You'll be in the chair.
We've got some more comments to get to there across Rumble, X, and on YouTube too. Let's go check in with the live chat. Paul Richards agrees the new visuals are terrific and he's loving those new documentaries. Lee Smith's asking if there are any deleted scenes there. John, are you aware if there are any deleted scenes are tucked away on that box set? I haven't seen.
There are.
There are.
Features.
Ooh.
Yeah. I believe what they've done, they've just put that it's got all of the content from the DVD releases also on here, and I think there were some deleted scenes on the DVDs along with audio commentaries, which I know are definitely on this first disc. They've got the audio commentary on the second episode. I think the answer is yes. I believe there's
definitely
stuff. Yeah.
Paul Richards Paul Richards says as soon as the titles come on, the detail and the colours stand out beautifully. And the Rabbi has announced that my box set just arrived today. I love the updated titles. And what is this here? We have Colin Archer asks, I wonder if any of the specials will include what I believe was the last thing that Paul Darrow did when he and Michael Keating were contestants on Pointless Celebrities. Oh my God, I'd love it if they put all that on, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone seen any of that on the sets yet? I'd certainly love all of that, but if not, I'll have to stick to hunting it on YouTube, won't I?
Yeah. I don't think I haven't seen anything of Paul Darrow on the extras yet.
Oh, really?
I'm 3 discs in on the extras.
You're 3 discs in, so you're doing really well on the set so far. You're on a right mission.
I've just double checked in the booklet that came with it. It comes with a nice booklet, and one of the good things about this is that it's got details of everything on the discs. So yes, on disc 6 there are indeed deleted scenes.
Yeah,
magic. Absolute magic. Well done, Blake 7. Vindicated at last, says Stephen Bragg. Vindicated. Could be. Paul says there are details I didn't notice the first time around. It all looks terrific. And Stephen adds again that it's lovely to see Matt Irvin and Mike Tucker back doing those beautiful practical special effects. Adrian James says, I remember being scared of the brainwashing scene. There are several brainwashing scenes in Blake 7, aren't there? narrow it down. And Ben Kirkham's there watching on YouTube too. Hiya, Ben, and says it's absolutely been worth the wait. It's brilliant. Happy customers all round. Lee Smith joins in the condemnation of Wikipedia, deleting culture every day. You could be right. It's so and Rob says it's so they don't confuse stupid people.
Yeah.
the renumbering of Blake 7 from Series A to Series 1. Yeah. It's not gone down too well. So yeah, people are enjoying these Blu-rays clearly as much as members of the panel are, and again comparing things that they've spotted. Lee Smith says that Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, reminds me of Blake 7, and you could keep going with all of that stuff forever as well. It's good to see it selling well. I hope many people will buy it for Christmas presents, says Paul. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Could anybody be saving this for Christmas? I'm not, but I bet there are plenty of people out there, they will have done, David. They'll have asked their significant other for it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I was tempted to ask my mum or my wife or one of my kids to get me it for Christmas, but then I thought, no, I'm going to get it for myself. I've been waiting too long for this, so I need to get it. I need to open it, and I need to watch it. I can't wait till December the 25th. It's something I need. I've been yearning to watch for so long. Ranging from the picture quality. I mean, the picture quality is so good, but unfortunately they can't hide the line on dear old Roy Evans or Ensor's son's wig.
Oh, Tony Counter plays Ensor's son, doesn't he? Roy from EastEnders,
Roy from EastEnders. Pat doesn't turn up, thank God. But the high definition also suits those that remember that poor old Avalon wasn't wearing much in the Chili Planet that she was on.
Yes. I mean, really? I hadn't noticed. Rob Alexander says that he's saving it for his new Blu-ray player, which he's not getting it until next year. There you go. We were talking about Christmas. That's unimaginable.
Rob, come on. Speed up.
It's not just us covering the release of Blake 7 on Blu-ray. Of course it isn't. There's coverage out there in magazines as well. So if you're not aware, this is the latest issue of SFX magazine. Nearly 30 years in print now, this magazine. And the cover there obviously has the movie Wicked on there, and Ariana Grande, I think she's playing Glinda, the good witch there in that. And other items are the TV show Silo, Nautilus, Generation Z, and Star Trek. But if you look just underneath that, it says Blake 7, Rebels Remixed. So there's a whole item there in the latest SFX on Blake 7, and you get a breakdown too of everything that's in the box set. So anybody who's still not convinced that they want to part with their money, not quite sure what's in there, you get that full breakdown too in the latest SFX. So go and follow them on social media over on X and tell them that we sent you here at Teleport at the Spacebook. You can also there's an article on Blake 7 too in the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine. That story that you mentioned earlier on, actually, Keith, how they came close to battling the Daleks. So there's a whole article on that too in issue 610 of Doctor Who magazine, which is currently in shops. Okay, what else? Yes, so I think that covers it for Blake 7, the collection series 1 on Blu-ray, or covers it at least for now. So mine's not even open. Heaven knows what I'll go for first, but I can't wait. Seriously can't wait. All those memories, Keith, you mentioned those omnibus videos. Then there was the serialized videotapes as well. John, you bought all the magazine, everything, the program guide that you had, David. Everything about everything that we've shared on this live stream. But they're sort of touchstone moments, really, of my connection to this show, and seeing it reborn again, Neil, in HD, which I know I've said this before, I never thought this would happen. Had you got to the point where you just assumed that it would forever be the case that the Blake 7 just wouldn't be worthy, it wouldn't be financially viable? How surprised were you, and how long do you think it'll take them to put out all four? Do you think we can hope for them annually?
I think we can hope for them annually. Hopefully the sales keep up to justify that. And I genuinely thought Blake 7 was doomed to a life on ITVX, if I'm going to be honest. And our old DVD collections, which you've probably all got. But I was surprised as anyone when it was announced that it was happening. And fantastic. Simple as that. But I did think that was it. Like I said, you know.
I think even Aurak was surprised, and he knows bloody everything. Do you think it's going to be an annual thing, Keith? Could we hope?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope so. Like you said, and I'm in total agreement with you, is this needs to do well for them to put the investment in to release the other seasons, definitely. But, you know, the fact that you've already pointed out that it's top of the Blu Ray charts and number 2 in Amazon and all that already seems quite encouraging. So, yeah, I sincerely hope so. The other thing I will say is obviously we got 52 episodes of this, but to my knowledge, I think there's almost like another 40 or 42 episodes in audio as an audio dramas of Blake Seven. So there is so much stuff out there, and the books that you know Neil mentioned. So there's just so much going on out there that if you want a deep dive into Blake Seven, it's certainly possible now. And what a great time we live in that we can do all of this and have it in high def. Amazing. So
Blake Seven, the collection, was released on in November here in Britain on the 11th of November from BBC Studios, and it's making its way across the rest of the world now too. So we've got an extra release date has been announced today for the Australian release. That's coming on the 11th of December 2024. All you Antipodeans, everybody in the Southern Hemisphere. I know Matt Pott, he's very, very keen to get his hands on this. And in America, it's still out on the 18th of December 2024. So one by one, different editions of this are lining up so that Blake Seven fans all over the world can gradually get it on their shelves after all this time, against all reasonable hope. John, I mean, I gather that all the editions are the same. They haven't squirreled anything special on any of the others, but some people out there may buy the different versions.
Oh, I mean, it's not like sci-fi fans to double dip or triple dip, is it? I mean, that's
not at all.
I mean, we don't do things like that, do we? It never happens. So of course we won't. No, not at all. But I would also like to add that I hate you guys and everyone in the chat, because I was going to have a chilled night tonight, but this is looking likely it's going to be a 3 a.m. finish. You know, so when I'm pumped up with caffeine tomorrow trying to get through work, I'm looking at all of you and I'm blaming you.
It's worth it.
I'm going to carry on watching it.
Yeah. We'll compare through the night.
Really?
Well, I've got the Avon and Callie Detective Agency to watch tonight. So that episode, I love that one. I think that's Mission to Destiny is one of my favourites. Avon does Inspector Clouseau sort of thing.
Brilliant.
I do find that personally my favourites change every time I watch this series as well, Neil. That's another joy of Blake Seven that we'll have to get around to probably another time. So yeah, wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to get Blake Seven into your collection right about now, or certainly before Christmas. That's the good news. Let us know what you think in the live chat as well, and in the comments section. How far in are you with the episodes and the features? We're all ears, and we'll get right back to you. Oh, no, steady on. Hold off any eliminations for a few minutes. I think we've had all the information that we can possibly take. But before we head off, let's have some Soma for the eyes and the souls. Because Blake Seven inspires a lot of fan creations, despite only having those 4 visual episodes to draw inspiration from. And here are some examples of art that has made our radar, that's been sent into us here at Teleport over the last few days. You'd be amazed the talent out there. First of all, in honour of Blake 7 finally arriving on Blu Ray, the Thin King has given that incredible, iconic, original Blake 7 logo the all blue treatment. It's an unusual bit of fan art, done with the wonder of AI, I think. But I do like this to commemorate the occasion, if you like, Neil.
Yeah, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's different.
It looks pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
Nice job thinking. See, I'm amused by things like this, John. I think it's harmless stuff. Ezra Goldstein thinks it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing, these people, and even if it's AI, I can't do this. I haven't got the talent to even type it in and get a prompt correct to come out with this. Yeah, if I put in do a Blake 7 logo, it'd come out of just a stick man on the screen, I bet you.
We've got some more here, more traditional art. This one's from Stephen Braddock over in the live chat. His take on the Liberator from earlier in the week there in pen and ink. Lovely job there, Stephen. Is he still around? I think he is.
Yeah.
Love it.
But yes, he is. Well done, Stephen. Stephen does post quite a lot of artwork in our various groups, so thank you, Stephen. Want to get this up on the screen. I particularly like the detail that he's gone into there with the patterning across the hull of the Liberator, Keith, because it is more detailed than you think, isn't it? When I was a kid and I'd got my Corgi model of it, it looked brilliantly white. But when you see the actual model, it's not like that, is it?
No, I mean, again, great design, but yeah, lots of detail. That's a great drawing. I think it's done a fantastic job of capturing it there. Really good. And yes, I too had the Corgi model. Very fond memories of that. So yes.
Nice job, Stephen, and keep them coming. Next up is this slightly stranger piece. This features Tarrant. This is titled Songs of Innocence, and we don't have an artist for this, sadly, but it features Del Tarrant, as played by Stephen Pacey, of course, in Series C and Series D of Blake 7.
Blake.
Cuddling
I
up.
thought that was Blake as well.
Yeah,
It looks like oh no, I think you could be right, actually.
Yeah, it's Blake.
I'd stand corrected. It's Blake. It's Gareth Thomas. Oh, I'm not certain. I'm not sure who this is. I think the jury's out for me.
It's definitely Blake, as I tilt my head. It's definitely Rog. Yes.
You think?
Just passed out after a night out, hadn't he?
I don't. Now you've said that, I don't know. Whoever he is, he's cuddling up to a unicorn there in an imagined episode of Blake 7. I mean, different strokes for different folks, I suppose, Neil?
Yeah. I mean, the drawing of Blake is pretty good, isn't it? I'm not sure about the concept of cuddling a unicorn. I'm trying to be nice. I mean, it's a good piece of artwork and shows a great imagination. Should we play that?
It's very equus. Very equus.
I really dropped you in it with that one, didn't I, mate? Sorry.
Look, Neil, you've got your inspiration now. I want you to go away and write a novel, please.
Of that? No.
Ezra Goldstein's got probably the best comment so far. Interesting drawing, says Ezra. Interesting drawing. Yes. If you have any idea where we can get our hands on more of this sort of stuff, okay, maybe not that. I think then send it our way by all means. We do love our fan art here at the Spacebook, so yeah, we're not against getting any kind of fan art up on the view screen there. Thank you. Lots of compliments for Stephen Braddock and his drawing too there, and he's thank you in the live chat. Yeah, good to have you with us, Stephen. Thank you for your time. Yes, we've been flying high out there with Blake 7 here on Teleport now with a live chat across YouTube, Rumble, and on X. Thank you for all of that, everybody. And if you want some more, if you want to talk some more, if you want to share some more, you can do just that by joining up with us at the Teleport Blake 7 fan group over on Facebook. That's been in existence now for years, like 7 years, something like that, originally under a different name. I set it up so we could do a sort of a weekly watch-a-thon for the 40th anniversary, but it survives in this new form, given a bit of a refresh. So if you've enjoyed the show and you'd like to see more, want to interact a little bit more, share more fan art and more of your journey through the Series 1 box set, do so by connecting with us over there in the Teleport Facebook group. And next up, so I want to go around and ask people about their various projects. First of all, Neil, I wanted to talk about your books, your fabulous books, the Vindictus sort of universe, really, which is now you're one half of the writing team for that, aren't you? You co-write them with Llewellyn Richardson. And the project's been in existence for about 2 to 2.5 years, hasn't it? And you've got out one novel and one novella, but the project has expanded quite a lot, hasn't it? There's audiobooks and various other things. And there's a link in the description to your link tree. But if you can give people the pitch for this, if they've never heard of Vindictus, give them the elevator pitch now. What is this about? Where does it start from, and why?
It's a sequel. It's obviously post Go to Prime, but it's different to quite a lot in that there's breathing space. So from the episode Blake, we're not jumping straight on after that. There's about 30 years, something like that, from Blake to where our novel Vindictus picks up, and it picks up a new crew, a new ship, a set of circumstances that bring a disparate band of new rebels together. There's some old characters in there, a couple of old characters that we've kept alive after Go to Prime. There's some uncertainty over the fate of perhaps Avon in particular, and it starts on a new set of adventures. It starts. It brings a new deep space vehicle, which has been designed by a guy called Mark N. Harrison, who you might have come across, who's actually doing some projects now being liberated to life.
I've been speaking to Mark.
Yeah, and then it reaches its end point when we've got a whole new crew on board the Vindictus, which is the ship. That's the name of the ship in the program. Sorry, I wished in the book. And then we move on to Escape to Aristo, which is a novella follow-up, which picks up from the end of the novel, which had.
So you're sort of pushing on within the same fictional universe and expanding it with more characters and more scenarios.
It is absolutely the Blake 7 universe. So you read it, and it is we are using planets references from the Blake 7 universe. So it's very evident. Characters from the Blake 7 universe. We bring back.
It's embedded into those 52 episodes that we know and love inside that.
Yeah. So you should. I say anyone reading it will recognize this is Blake 7 straight away, even though it's decades on. It's definitely Blake 7. We have a relative of Blake in it, and I know that sounds a little bit corny, but
I'm going to stop you before you give out the spoilers, Neil. I'm sold already. I think lots of them will be. There's a link in the description to the video at the link tree to Vindictus, so you can get various parts of it in your life. You can hit up their social medias.
We've also got full cast audios. So
wow!
Double CD sets. The novel, the first one, has been split into 3 parts. So 3 episodes, if you like. First one's called Prime Directive. The second one's called Friends or Foes. And the last one's called Battle Lines, and that's due to come out next year. So we've got full cast audios. And the great thing about these is that the people doing the voicing are all fans. We've brought together a large community of fans to do some acting on these. And Chrissy Pashley is the genius behind doing the sound work on them and putting it all together. So you can either buy these like that, you can buy the novels, of course, or you can get onto YouTube and you can listen to them if you want to for free. If you don't want to, it's all for charity, so no one's making any money, and it's as simple as that. It's a labor of love. That's what it is.
Wow.
And it comes from a place where myself and Llewellyn were never satisfied with what has gone out there officially as sequels, so we absolutely didn't like Afterlife. I think there's a lot of people that don't like Afterlife, and and Lucifer didn't do it for me either. I didn't think the characterization was right. So there's a lot of new stuff in these. You'll recognize the universe, but there's a lot of new and quite a lot of old and a lot of Easter eggs in there.
I was going to ask you, Neil, about the Lucifer thing, because I just listened to the last book yesterday. I finished it, Genesis, and I as much as I love Paul Darrow, and as much as I love the first two books of Paul Darrow talking to me, and then Stephen Greif, I found their version, Paul Darrow's version of the Federation, and the subsequent disbanding of it, and new sorts of regimes. Kind of it kept confusing me, and I just thought I was more like listening to a sort of like one-man geriatric Jean-Claude Van Damme taking on the universe.
That's exactly what I mean about characterization. I didn't think.
Then Blake Seven, then Avon. I could not have it that Avon, who'd probably be about 70 at this point, was going out with a Bowie knife and all this and the other and dealing with sharpshooting sort of headhunters. And I just thought, and even the characterization between him and Aurak was just all wrong. I found, and I'm really looking forward to taking a look at your take on it.
I mean, cynically, I lost interest in Lucifer. I've tried numerous times to pick it up and read it, and I've put it back down. It can't hold my attention.
And this is roughly in the same time frame, then, is it? Your if it's 20 years on or whatever, is that right?
Yeah, 20, 30 years on, absolutely, and it picks up.
I love that they're audio dramas, because I'm a big audio drama fan. I will be checking those out for sure.
Yeah, jump on YouTube, have a listen.
Yeah, awesome.
Again, the link is in the description for all of that as well. And people can find, you've got, you're on X too, aren't you? X and Facebook.
Yeah, if you search Vindictus Novel on Facebook or X, you'll find our X account, but you'll also find our Vindictus Novel group as well on Facebook if you want to jump in there and see what's going on and what's coming up.
Neil, are you on any sort of like audio streaming platforms like Audible or anything like that?
Not at the moment. Yeah, haven't got there. I mean, without going into any huge detail, there's always the copyright detail issues and all that.
Okay.
So.
Well, you have to come back and tell us some more about the whole project on a dedicated edition, a big update of it. David the Decimer. Thanks for representing the Decimers. Obviously, we do believe in representation. Representation matters here at Teleport.
They are muchly maligned and wrongly so. I feel that they have a lot to offer the universe, and that they are sadly and appropriately much maligned. So yes, I'm pleased to be the representation for the Decimers.
Thanks for your company, David. It's been a lot of fun catching up with you, chewing over Blake 7, so getting to know you better. And yeah, please come back and talk to us some more by all means. John, happy new box set. Yours it's loose, it's free. I think I was going to say you own it, but I think it probably owns you for the next however long, doesn't it? Good luck is all I can say.
I will be consumed by it within a few minutes. Yeah.
I think we've all been consumed by this show over the last 45 years.
So that's consuming me. I thought I was going to get through that. Then Neil says he's got a load of audios to listen to as well. So there's no hope for me getting into work tomorrow, is there? Absolutely no.
It's snowing here. So.
Yeah.
If you go to our website, there's also a mini audio in between The Keeper and Star One.
You're not helping, Neil. You're not helping.
It's good salesmanship. Tell him, and then tell him again. Yes. Yes, so good luck with that, John. It's great to have you on the show. Keith, good to have you back too. So, so your channel, your YouTube channel, is called Home Media Minefield, and you specialise there, don't you, in, well, it does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? But for Blake 7 devotees, you have got a couple of special videos, one on the starting grid right now, but a couple historically too, I would imagine. But go on, so you've made an unboxing video. There's one coming up. When's it dropping?
No, the unboxing video is there. I did it this afternoon, so it's actually it's online. So if anybody wants
Marvelous.
to, what's in the set before they buy it. But Dan, thank you so much for having me on this, because I know we've been talking for some years about, I always said to you, I've always been
every time we speak
rather than a Doctor Who guy, and I kept saying to you, if you ever do Blake 7, get me involved, because I love it. So I'm glad that we're finally here doing this, and the fact that it coincides with the home media Blu Ray release of the first season just makes it even sweeter. So that's great, and I'm delighted to hear from your other guests here about the fact that there's a whole new audio drama series that I can go and investigate now. So
I didn't know. Yeah,
brilliant.
So brilliant.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you, Neil. Thank you.
Happy to help. Dan, thank you to everybody on the panel, including Lee from Ordred Audio Visual, for the incredible theme tune. Once again, you can find Ordred Audio Visual on YouTube. Go and subscribe to the channel and hear more of Lee's work, various different projects over the years. Your ears will thank you. Your ears will love you. And you can find him on Instagram as well. So yes, we rather love Blake 7. I think that shows. It certainly shows with you guys over there in the live chat too. But as the Liberator sails off in true sort of animated form, that was Teleport Now live Blake 7. Could we return with more intergalactic intelligence? More Teleport Now? Well, that's down to you. Let us know. Don't be shy, because we're not telepaths. There's no Callies on this panel. You need to get in touch with us through our social medias at the Spacebook on Instagram and X, or teleport care of the Spacebook at outlook.com. Join us over there in the Blake 7 Teleport Facebook group too, if you feel so inclined. That's easy to find. And thank you again to everybody on the panel. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. Find me on Instagram and X as well, where I ramble on about all things geeky in TV, movies, and comic books, and whatever else catches my eye, my imagination, or both. The rebellion has indeed begun again, and we're not quite sure what we're getting or when we're getting it. But yeah, you're quite right, Keith. I mean, scanning the sector with the fan projects and audio dramas and events aplenty. It seems that there's more than enough for us here to make our way back sooner rather than later. We might see you on the next one, but for now, that was Teleport Now. Long live Blake 7. Enjoy your box sets, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.